just very briefly, this is the nervous system that contains the brain and spinal cord. We're not talking about the brain and spinal cord right now. We are talking more about the peripheral nervous system because it really is the more of the bottom-up approach that we want to work on more. So it contains the peripheral nervous system. The yellow parts here are the nerves that innervate our whole body. And it's divided into two. The somatic nervous system contains our senses. So vision, smell, taste, touch, and sound. Plus our sixth sense is technically called proprioception, which is where our body is in space. So this is also very unconscious. Our brains are always trying to figure out where is our body right now in space. So that's our sixth sense. Our seventh sense is the vestibular part, which is fancy term for our hearing, our balance. So it's our inner ear, and it helps with equilibrium. It helps with balance. Where our head is in space is very important for orientation. And then our eighth sense is our interoception, which is what we have conscious control over, which is what we're learning here, which is really just noticing all the sensations, feelings, emotions in our body. So these somatic practices that you're learning here are what influences our autonomic nervous system, which is completely unconscious. So this part of us is our inner, I'm going to go here. This is our inner surveillance system. And we have three main lines of defenses. So the first one is the ventral vagal state, then sympathetic, then dorsal vagal. So in a nutshell, the autonomic nervous system has the sympathetic and parasympathetic state. But in the parasympathetic state, it's divided into two, the smart part and the dumb part. This is real science terms. The smart vagus is all about safety. This is where we want to be. This is the regulated state, but the dorsal vagal state is where we shut down, freeze, and collapse. It's where we put the brakes on too hard and we're not able to release the brakes. So that's why it's called dumb. So when we are our unconscious mind, or when our nervous system perceives a threat in our environment, and the key word here is perceive. So when we perceive a threat, it could be something like a spider, or it could be someone pissing us off on social media. That could be a threat. First, we go into the ventral vagal state. It's kind of like we look around, right? Automatically, when we hear a sound and we're in a public place, we look around at first, right? We're like, what's happening? We look to see what everyone else is doing. This is our first line of defense. We see where we're trying to orientate to our environment first and see what everyone else is doing. If we can't fight off that stress, we go into fight or flight, which is go. We either fight, move towards, or flee, move away from that stressor. And then if we once we mobilize this energy and we still cannot fight off that threat, we use up all our energy, which then makes our tank lower, and it makes us go into the dorsal vagal state, the shutdown, freeze, or collapse state. And this is a trickier one to get out of, because at this point, this is really low. And this is where burnout happens. This is the actual burnout. Okay. No problem, Robin. So this is where we burn out, and we'll talk about more of that later. But this is the latter part of the threat response, where the body has pretty much just said, I cannot fight this threat anymore. I'm going to conserve my energy to protect myself. And to make it even more gory, right? Like if we ran away from the lion or something, we ran away from the lion and we couldn't run away from the lion, and we're like, I have no energy left, my muscles are sore, I'm going to give up. And I'm just gonna now shut down and stand here, or lie down here. I can't run away from the lion anymore. Then the lion eats us, and then at that point, we pretty much just give up. That's why we dissociate as well, because imagine just being eaten by a lion. You don't want to be activated because then you'll feel pain. So we dissociate from our bodies to protect us from feeling the physical or emotional pain of whatever that stressor is. Pretty, pretty out there, but actually a very, very smart adaptation, because in this state, this is the state where we feel numb. So our bodies literally numb us from pain. For those of you working with pain, this is going to be very interesting.